Hello and welcome. My name's Ross. I'm going to be going over how I like to build a city in Cities Skylines, the first game. I've been playing this game for quite a while. I have over 400 hours into this game, and I'm not to say that I'm, the best at it or anything, but I'd like to think with that amount of time gives me a certain amount of expertise. So I don't do anything like this normally. I'm not making videos all the time, but I've really enjoyed this game, and honestly this game has been such a fun, really pastime, something that I can do just to release stress or do something that I feel like I'm building something. And really this game is something that I got into all because of an original game many years ago called SimCity. So when I was looking for an alternative to a different city builder, something a bit more nuanced or more complex, I was looking at SimCity and I was thinking, well, there's got to be something better out there than this game, because SimCity is pretty old. It's from, I want to say, like really late 2000s, like before 2010. And I was really excited when I heard about Cities Skylines. So what I wanted to do with this sort of series is go through how I'm starting a city from scratch, what I like to do, why I like to do it, so that somebody who is a brand new player to Cities Skylines can just reference this, or even just put it on in the background while they play, get some ideas, get something that they're interested in. And so let's go ahead and look at what I'm doing. I'm making some layouts, some road layouts on how I prefer to have these constructed. I like to use these arms right here. That helps increase the sort of area that I allow for my zones, and allows for bigger housing. So you can do zones that are 4 wide, which is here, 4 on this 2 and 2 or 2 and 2, or you can even do zones that are all different sizes. So what we're going to do is just place down some residential zoning, because that's really the first place to get started. And one of the things that I've learned in this game, it's easy to take this game and when you just start out, maybe not think as much about what you're actually building, and so you might just use a bunch of these like single lane roads, which are fine, but honestly, starting off early, I know it's a little more expensive, but I like to personally use some of these larger avenues. I feel like that gives me a bit more insight into what I'm doing in the future. And then it becomes along the lines of, let's see, I need to put some power down. So it's been a while since I've actually played Cities Skylines 1, because I've gotten the second game, Cities Skylines 2. But I'm actually coming back to this game because there's been some problems that I've noticed, and there's some pretty wide opinions on the internet regarding Cities Skylines 2. But we'll get into those a little bit, and why they're that way, why maybe some people aren't as enthused with that game and are more enthused with Cities Skylines 1. Personally, I think Cities Skylines 1 is the better game to play right now, currently today, in 2024. Will it stay this way? I can't say. I honestly think that in the future something will be added to the game to make it even better. Let's see, how do I even get up in level? I put on my key mapping to try and change it here to be more like Cities 2, because that's what I've been used to now. Elevation up. So let's try, Y is already selected, let's try T. Let's see, elevation up. I gotta remember what I used in the old game to build elevation up. I think I used H and Y, so we're going to put elevation up as Y and elevation down as H. These are just my preferred keys that I like to have in this game, so I did change them a little bit in Cities 2 just because I wanted to have just a little bit different of a key strokes to make it a little easier. Honestly, did it change that much? No. But what I'm doing now is I'm placing some water, some way to get water. So let's see. What I need to do is I need to also remember how to get out of underground mode, because I remember underground mode. And let's see, if I just place this there, then it's going to need sewer. Now, personally, I like to have my sewer under the roads, because when I'm building future things, it's easy to know if I have a road here, then I have a sewer here. Not everyone does that. It's not the most efficient. As you can see, there's some overlap, but I just prefer that for ease of use on my very first city. And we're going to connect this with power, and there we go. We should have that electricity flowing. I usually start out with wind, and then something else that you need is some way to dump the water. You know, it's very important that you're dumping in a different direction than you're taking in. The water is moving this way and the water is moving that way, so I'm taking in before I'm dumping sewage. Eventually we'll get building up to a water treatment plant. But if you look at the price here, cost, it's about the same, just the monthly upkeep is slightly different. Honestly, they've changed some things. Let's go ahead and just build one of those, because why not? And I think we may get a refund. There we go. If you build something quickly after, you will get a refund, and it's not the full purchase price amount, but it is, you know, something nice to have if you realize, oh, you know, I actually don't really need this. And let's see how we're doing here. So we're building a nice little residential area, but the residential area are going to need people to work, because they need jobs. So we're going to build a little more forward-thinking area onto our residential sort of block here, and I'd say about here is where we'll make some jobs. You know, you've got two ways to employ your Sims here. You've got the industrial and commercial. In the future we'll have some office zoning, but that really hasn't set in yet. Now, some trick that I've learned is if you want to make this more walkable, you just add a walkable path here, and that'll make that area more walkable. But I've decided I'm not going to connect that, just because I'm not looking to make that intersection have too much traffic at this time. So let's see, let's build something here. These are some nice little commercial zones, and then we'll do the same thing over there, but let's wait for this to sort of fill in. The other thing that you have to worry about, and I'm sort of zooming out here, is to look at where I want to put this industry, because industry is a little bit of a polluter. And so depending on your policies and your district policies, which we'll get into later, it could be a little bit of pollution involved. So if there is like wind, we're going to try and put it so the wind is blowing any air pollution. For now, we'll just put down a little industry piece here, and we can always delete or move that later. And it looks like we're starting to get a couple commercial zones moving in, so that's good. And we've got electricity to all of them. So as we continue to move in here, we've got a little bit happening. I'm going to go ahead and speed up here. You just press this little button in the corner, and we'll get into a little bit more. But as I've already forgotten, it's important that you put down your plumbing. If you're not putting down your plumbing, they are not necessarily going to have water and sewer. That's something different in Cities 2, but for this game in Cities 1, you're going to have to manually put down any plumbing, and although that stinks, it is important to remember So let's see, we'll put down a little more industrial zone because that's got some demand. You can look down here at this little demand graph and it'll show you where people want to move, what they want to do. So we'll put down some more housing. And now today's a good time to talk about at the very beginning how I have some mods. So one of the mods that I have, and we'll do a video coming up soon on all the mods that I have. I'm not too big. I don't have like hundreds of them. I think I maybe have like 10 that I find really helpful. But one of them that I find helpful or really fun to play with is realistic population. So what that does is it takes like an individual house and it says one household, but it puts an individual number of people in the household that are realistic to what you would see in like a real household, or at least a bit more realistic. And you can always adjust it more, which is a really cool feature. So if you want to make your place even more realistic, you can by adjusting how many like households per area. And what I'm going to do up here is I'm actually making some smaller like homes, and we'll see if anyone moves into this like 2x2 sort of section. You know, this is not something I've experimented with too often, but you know, I'm coming back from Cities Skylines 2, and I think we'll see if anyone moves in those sort of smaller areas. And it looks like somebody is moving in, so let's see. They take up sort of a 4x2 area, and let's just keep on chugging here because it looks like they want more and more residential real estate, so we're going to keep adding more. I'm already betting, you know, our electricity is going to be creeping up. Our traffic is looking good. We have a little bit of a backup here, but you know, as you'll see later in game, this is pretty much nothing compared to what you can do. I've played some games where I've had some pretty bad traffic backup, so we're going to go ahead and continue to build on. It looks like from a money perspective, we're not running out or anything. We're going to plan on building a larger central city here, so I'm going to expand up here, likely with some of the more recent smaller developments. So you can do like high density or low density housing. As you can see, we're not nearly there, but in the future we will be. And so I'm going to save expanding to this area until I have just a little bit more development. And actually, if we can go this way, we can get in with the railroad. So any expansions, we're going to look into this area and seeing how to do that. Let's see. This is not the first city that I've built on this map. I'm realizing that now, but I really have enjoyed this other city I built on this map. One thing that I did was I sort of built out early down here, so we're going to do that differently and see what happens. I really like this little mountainous region. We'll see if we can make something of that in the future. Let's see what's over here. Looks like our population is increasing. Sometimes I like to go out and see our city statistics, check our treasury, our budget, to make sure that our budget isn't going too crazy. In the beginning, it's not as important because they start you off, or at least they started me off, with a pretty generous amount of money. So what we're going to do is just take away that connection, because what I would like to do here is make like a nice little thoroughfare, and then maybe we can connect. Oh, that's going to be too short. That's okay. Maybe I'll just pause that, and we'll just build up here and pretend like we're going to build a little bridge. And for this, we'll just build this through, and we can just connect that down. You know, in the future, this might not even connect. You know, I might not even use this as an on-ramp or an off-ramp. It might just be sort of an overpass to get to this area. But again, I like to be very forward-thinking, so if I want to develop an area, it can be pretty easy to convert one to another. So we're going to look at where I can get the most bang for my buck on wind power. And there we go. We're upgrading our city. We've got enough wind power, and let's see, this is an advanced coal power plant. I'm a big fan of using the non-polluting ones just because it makes the people that they live by happier. We could always put like a coal power plant up there, which is cool too. And let's go down here now that we have access to this side. We're going to go ahead and continue sort of building on to that, and I'll put a little bit more housing here because that's what people want. And really I'm just going to do one more little like area here, and then we'll expand the rest of our housing on the other side. So we'll just add this, and you can use the paint bucket if you want to fill the whole area, or this little selector tool if you just want to fill some of it. So we're going to end up filling most of that over there, and I just prefer the selector tool rather than the paint bucket for a lot of things because it just gives me a little bit more control. So why am I going this far out? If you see, you know, this intersection is spaced out from that intersection, is spaced out from that. Now this is not a very good space out, and I'll probably end up deleting this on you. But if you have too many intersections too close together, you can actually have backup and traffic problems. So spacing out your intersections is a really easy, simple tip that I learned pretty early on. So we'll add some of these, and you know what, we're going to add, let's see about adding some of the smaller homes. Oh, there's not too much space up here, maybe never mind. We'll add some of these, and let's speed it up a little bit. Let's get some more people to move in a little quicker. What do we need to do now? We've got schools that are going to be needed. I like to put the schools in sort of the central area. And, you know, I think this is a good little stopping point for today. We'll get back on shortly, but let's put a school down. It's never a bad idea to put one on like a main road. And let's put a clinic down as well, sort of next to that, so that there's always healthcare and schools. So we'll pick up from here where we end up next time, and we'll see you then.